I'm just going to play a little bit of music before we start as we're getting going. I just logged in a little early in case anybody shows up early. That works out perfect. As you come in, just type in the chat box where you're calling in from and how you heard about the webinar. We're going to get started in a few minutes. As you come in, just type in the chat box where you're calling in from and how you heard about the webinar. We're going to get started in a few minutes. As you come on the webinar, just type in the chat box where you're calling in from and how you heard about the webinar. Well, I have 7 o'clock. I'm just going to wait a few more minutes because I know there's some more people that have registered. So I'm going to just hang out here for a few minutes. As you join us, just type in the chat box where you're calling in from and how you heard about the webinar. We're going to get started in a few minutes. So as you join, just type in the chat box where you're calling in from and how you heard about this webinar. We're going to get started. I know it's just 2 minutes after 7, but I'm going to wait another minute or so because I know there are other people that had promised that they were going to join us. So as you join the webinar, just write down in the chat box where you're calling in from and how you heard about the webinar. Okay, we're going to get started. My motto is start on time, end early. So that's what we're going to do. So during this webinar, you're going to need a piece of paper and a pen because we're going to be doing some exercises. Also, so you know, there may be a delay depending on how fast your internet is. There may be a delay based on me asking questions of you to put in the chat box and me seeing them, but I will be checking the comments every now and then. So if I ask you a question, just type it in the chat box and I will be checking every few minutes and let you know. So I just want you to know that you are in the right place. If you feel as though you've lost who you are, your job is unsatisfying, or you feel as though your talents are being wasted, you feel disconnected, like something is missing, you're feeling uninspired, unmotivated, or stuck in a rut, or you're just ready to discover and live your dreams. Now, during this webinar, since it is a webinar and I can't see you, and there isn't the same kind of participation as a live workshop, you're going to be tempted to multitask. So I encourage you, if you can, to close the door, silence your cell phone, and really give yourself the gift of fully participating in this webinar. By fully participating, you will get the most out of it, and you will very soon be discovering, and then once you discover, you can learn to live your dreams. So I'm going to go live so you can see me. Actually, we're live now, but I'm going to go so that you can see me in a few minutes, and then I'm going to change it back to the PowerPoint in a few minutes. So there will be a delay, just so you know, once I turn off the PowerPoint and turn on the camera. So if the screen goes blank, not to worry, it will come back again real soon. To see you live and in person on this great day, the day before Halloween. I have my Halloween socks on. I hope you are also in the mood for Halloween. So as I said, you're going to be tempted to multitask, and I want to make sure that you get the most out of this. Silence your cell phone, close the door if you can, and just really pay attention to everything that's going to be happening here. So I want to start out with a little story. There was a mother mouse with her baby mice, and they were rummaging around for some food. And they turned around the corner, and there around the corner in the living room was this big cat. And the cat saw them, and the cat started creeping closer and closer and closer and closer. The first thing that the mother mouse thought of is she got up on her hind legs and she went, roof, roof, roof. The cat got scared and scurried away. And the mother mouse turned to her baby mice and said, see, children, it is very important to know a second language. And that's really what we're going to be talking about today, is the language of success, because there is a language to success. If you want to discover it and live your dreams, you can follow this language of success, and you can use it once you discover it. You can use it in any aspect of your life that you would love to improve. So I want everybody to raise your hand if you have a goal that you would like to achieve right now. So raise your hand. And you may think that it's odd I'm asking you to raise your hand on a webinar because I can't see your hand raised. So I want you to raise your hand and type yes in the chat box. By raising your hand, you're telling the universe you're here, you're participating, and this is going to be the best webinar of your life. So again, if you have a goal that you would love to achieve, raise your hand and type yes in the chat box. Okay, great. I will be checking in a few minutes to see how many yeses we have here. And I have another question for you. How many of you have had a goal in the past that you have achieved, and when you started it, you had no idea how you were going to achieve it, and yet you achieved it anyway? Again, raise your hand and type yes in the chat box. And I'd be willing to bet that every single one of you will be typing yes in the chat box. And we have some yeses coming in right now from the first question. You are in the right place if you have a goal that you would love to achieve. And again, raise your hand and type yes in the chat box if you've ever had a goal that you have achieved and you just had no idea how you were going to do it. Because that just proves that we are capable of much, much more than we know. So I'm going to switch it back over to the presentation. So again, it's going to be a little bit of a blank page. Our second set of yeses is coming in right now. So what I have learned during my many opportunities I've had speaking to different groups and organizations is that often our dreams and goals are born out of the challenges that we're facing or the pain that we're currently experiencing. So raise your hand and type yes in the chat box if you have a challenge you're currently experiencing, some area in your life that's causing you pain, perhaps in your career or your relationship, perhaps in your health, or with the amount of money you have or the lack of time. So just raise your hand and type yes if you would love to have that problem solved. So you see, we live in a universe that speaks to us through signals. And those signals are our longings and our discontents. And it's that feeling of longing for something we haven't yet created, that feeling of discontent with current circumstances that sparks us to grow. And our longings are what we want more of. Our discontent is what we want less of. So if you're feeling a longing for something you haven't created or a feeling of discontent, then just know that you're in the right place and we're going to help solve that. Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith has a quote where he says, to change our life, we are often pushed by pain until we are pulled by a vision. These two energies, the pain of your problem and the burning desire of what you want, are essential to creating new results. So I want to tell you a time in my life that I had a challenge that I wanted to change. I was pushed by pain. It was a number of years ago, and my mother was dying of cancer, and I just ended a significant relationship, and I was feeling lost and heartbroken and frustrated and scared. So how many of you have felt those in your life at some time? I'm sure all of us have experienced at that time. So I knew I had to do something. I knew I had to change something about the way I was doing things. So one of my core values is fun. So I decided to go out and have some fun. And as it turned out, a friend of mine was singing. She's a folk singer. And I went and I listened to her sing. And I just had such a good time getting involved in the music, clapping and cheering and, you know, bopping and weaving to the music. It really shifted me out of that feeling of despair and loneliness. And while I was there, I noticed that they had a bookstore. So I looked at some of the books, and a lot of the books that I had read, they sold. So I figured any place that sells books that I read would be a good place for me to attend. And they weren't your average everyday books that they were selling there. So I started attending there, and it was Unity Church on Delaware. And the first 3 Sundays I felt such a sense of belonging that I cried. And people that knew me back then would know that was very unusual for me. But I just felt a sense of belonging and connectedness with everybody there. And over the years, I started taking classes, and then I started teaching classes. And that's where I received my first coaching certification. That first coaching certification as a Q coach, though, was very unity-centric. All of the wording and the principles were very unity-centric. And I wanted to find another coaching program that was more secular, because I really loved it when people got it, you know, when that light bulb goes off and people start seeing things differently and doing things differently. And I wanted to help other people do that. So that's why I became a coach. And I found my second coaching certification, which is as a life mastery consultant. So I'm Lynn Tranchel. I'm a life mastery consultant, AKA Certified Transformational Life Coach. And then I received a third coaching certification in Mind PT, which I'll be talking about a little bit later. So I personally applied this proven system to my life that I've learned in my coaching. And now I'm living my dream as a transformational life coach. I've invested my time and energy and career that I love. I have deep, rich, meaningful relationships that I cherish with all my heart. My health is better than ever. In fact, I am healthier now than I was 5 years ago. And I'm able to serve my clients that I love and help incredible people like you discover, design, and then live into the dream life. And I absolutely love my life, and I would not be here today without my coaching programs. So as you join, again, just type in the chat box where you're calling in from and how you heard about the webinar. Okay, so I am going to share with you 3 secrets to discover and design your life. There are actually 10 principles that I teach in my coaching. And these 3 principles alone, you will be able to take and apply right away to help you create a life you absolutely love. So if you're in for the possibility of creating something even more amazing in your life, touch your heart and type in the chat box, I'm in. So here is my promise to you. I promise that I'm going to give you everything I can in just over 60 minutes of our time together. And at the end of the presentation, many of you are going to want to take this information further and integrate it into your life. So for you, I have a special gift that I'm going to present to you at the end of the presentation. I also have an additional gift for those of you who stay until the end. And to get into a success mindset, let's take a look at our past successes. One of the ways that we can create future success is to look at our past successes. So right now, just take a moment and think of some past successes that you've had. It could be something that seems as easy right now as learning to ride a bike. Or it could be something more difficult, like, or takes more effort, like graduating from college. So just think about 3 or 4 successes that you've had in your life. So as you think about those successes, really get into the feeling tone of what it felt like. What did it feel like to succeed? Whether it was something simple or whether it was something that took more effort. So just think about what it felt like. How did you feel? How did you carry yourself? What did you do afterwards? And really get into that feeling tone of being a success. And this is really how we can use past successes to create future success. So the next time you're in the middle of something and you're feeling a little bit off, like need a little bit of extra help, think about these past successes and bring that feeling of those past successes into the present moment. And this is how we use our past to create our future. So remember those, and you want to have a list of successes at the ready. So whenever you need to just look at that list or think of that list, get into that feeling tone, and then really become that person, and you will be able to move forward in your current circumstance. So again, we need a paper and pen, and this is where we're going to write something down. Just write down a couple of those successes. And I'm going to play a little bit of music as we do this. So I'm going to give you just a minute to think about and then to write down past successes that you've achieved. Okay, how are we doing? Were you able to come up with some successes? Just if you're willing to type in the chat box, just one success that you wrote down on your list. And again, there may be a delay based on the speed of your internet. So I will be checking the comments every now and then to see your answers to my questions. So just remember, we can use our past successes to keep us moving towards future success. And again, if you'd like to share anything, just type in the chat box, just one of the successes that you thought of. So we want to learn how to expand our awareness. And for success in the areas of our life that matters most to you. It could be one of the 4 domains of your life that you are experiencing results in, either your health and well-being, love and relationships, career or creative expression, or just the amount of time and money freedom you have. And each one of us has results in each of these areas of our life. And the results you're getting in your life in these areas are a perfect reflection of your awareness in these areas. So let's expand our awareness together by studying the pattern that creates our results. or what I call our results formula. So our results formula looks like this. Your thoughts cause your feelings, and we all know that. When you think happy, joyful thoughts, you feel happy. When you think scary thoughts, your heart beats faster. And when you think about all of the things left to do and how there's no time to do them, you feel stressed and overwhelmed. And when you think about what you've accomplished, what you're capable of, you feel much more confident. Your thoughts affect your physiology. By law, your feelings must express into action. So you have thoughts, and these feelings are expressed into action. The thoughts create feelings. So try this out. Put on the physical posture and facial expression of somebody who's depressed. That's interesting that we all know how to do that. Our shoulders go down, our head goes down, our face is expressionless or frowning. Now shake it off and put on the body position of someone who is confident, happy, and just had a major success. Your shoulders are back, your arms are up, and you have this amazing smile on your face. So our feelings are expressed into our actions. When we feel confident, when we feel energized, we take different action than we do when we feel depressed, frustrated, or sad. And it's our actions that create our results. Your thoughts cause your feelings cause your actions, and your actions cause your results. And this is the law of cause and effect. Yet most people don't get this. Most people look at their results. They look at their circumstances, their conditions, and they call those their causes. Actually, they're really too smart to call them their causes. They call them their causes. I can't get a new career because I'm too old, or because I'd lose my benefits. I can't take time off because I don't have the money, or because I don't have the vacation time and my boss won't let me. I can't find the love of my life because I'm not young enough, thin enough, attractive enough. I can't because. Where the true cause of all of our results is right here. And I'm pointing at my head right now. Your thoughts. Your results are caused by what you have been thinking. And this is our first cause. So if you want to know what you're thinking, look at your results, because your results never lie. If you want to create new results in your life, then you must begin by looking at your thinking, where our thinking comes from and how our minds create a thought. And if you change your thoughts, this whole cycle change, and you'll be moving in a new direction. So you think a new thought, which creates new feelings and new actions and new results. And based on those new results, you have new thoughts, new feelings, new actions. So that's how we change the way we do things. Now, I am honored to speak in many different groups and organizations and at live events. And often after the presentation, someone will come back to me and ask if I can lead another group, or if they lead another group or organization, ask if they can hire me to speak to that group. And I'm always happy to do that. And whenever I go to a group or organization, this exercise is one that I love to do with people. So I'm going to give you 10 seconds to look around the room and see everything that you can see that's blue in color. Try to remember everything that's blue. Go. Look around. Look for blue. Look for blue. Look for blue. Count all of the things that you can that are blue. Look for blue. Look for blue. Look for blue. Now stop and close your eyes. With your eyes closed, bring to mind all of the red items that you saw. Now again, raise your hand, even though I can't see it. Raise your hand if you saw, and type in blue in the chat box if you saw more blue than red. And again, there will be a delay, so I will be expecting to see your answers soon. So now look around the room and see how many red items you see in the room. Do you see more red than blue than you did before? So why is this? There's an area of our brains called the reticular activating system, whose job it is to mediate our overall level of consciousness and awareness. In other words, the reticular activating system's job is to bring into our awareness what it is that we're looking for and filter out of our awareness what it is we're not looking for. So what we are paying attention to, we will see. Seek and ye shall find. Most of us are taught to focus our thoughts on what's reasonable, what's safe, why we can't, what's missing, what problems we might face, why it won't work. At any given moment, we are bombarded, our consciousness is bombarded by 400 billion bits of information. That's 400 billion bits. And yet we can only recognize 2,000 bits. So if you want to change your results, you must start by changing your focus. So you can see if we look at something different, if we focus on something different, we will see completely different things. For example, it seems as though every time I go to buy a new car, as soon as I make a decision, it seems as though everyone has purchased that car. Everyone has that car. And I don't really think that it is overnight 100 people bought the same car I had. Yet it's just what I am focused on at the time. Highly successful people begin with the end in mind. They know their outcome. They become clear on what it is they really want. Because where our attention goes, energy flows. You begin to see the resources and opportunities other people miss. So I'm going to present to you now the first secret to creating and designing your dream. And that's what we call designing our dream. So what do you want? What would you love for your life right now? Are you going to create out of design? What would I love? Or out of default? Let's just see what happens. Write this down. Clarity is power. Without a clearly defined blueprint, you cannot build your dream. Just like you must have a clear blueprint if you want to build the house of your dream. The same is true for your dream. When you become clear on what it is you really want, you begin to see opportunities, circumstances, resources that you would have otherwise missed. So let's design the blueprint for your dream, and let's make it crystal clear. Just like you would never go to an architect and say, build me a happy house. You would give the architect the details of the number of rooms you wanted, the number of stories you wanted. Do you want a garage? Is your garage attached? You even would go into details as the number of windows you want in a room, or the number of outlets you want in a room. So this is the kind of detail that we really want to look at. So if we look at the 4 areas of our life, we're going to do a little bit of an assessment first. If we look at our health and well-being on a score of 1 to 5, how close is your health and well-being right now to your dream, to your goal? A 1 would be not so close. You're a little bit unhealthy or you're not feeling so great. And a 5 would be, yeah, I have the best health in the world and I am feeling great. So just 1 to 5 in the area of health and well-being right now. And now I'll give you a second to write that down. And next we'll look at the area of love and relationships. And these are all relationships. How are your relationships right now? Are they a 1, anywhere from 1 to 5? So just take a moment and rate your relationships right now from 1 to 5. And next, we'll be looking at our vocation or creative expression. And your vocation is your career, what you do to earn money, or if you aren't earning money, you could be retired or something. What kind of creative expression are you living in your life right now? So again, let's vote on that from a 1 to 5. 1 meaning you're really not happy at all. 5 meaning everything is perfect. And now let's go on to the amount of time and money freedom you would love in your life. Do you have enough time to do what you want? Do you have enough money to do what you want? And again, let's rate that from 1 to 5. For the purposes of today, we're just going to select one of these areas. So you may pick one area that has the lowest number. You will be able to do this in all areas in the future, but for now, just pick one domain in your life that you'd like to improve the results on. And I want you to give yourself permission to imagine like you did when you were a child, where nothing was impossible. No dream was too big. When you were a little kid, you had a rich imagination. You put on possible futures when you're 3 or 4 years old. You imagined being a fireman or an astronaut or a ballerina or a doctor or anything you wanted. So I challenge you to dream big. And we're going to unlock our imagination with this simple question. What would I love? So ask yourself right now, what would I love? And you see different answers inside of yourself when you ask, what would I love? Compared to what do I think I can do? What does the economy say I can do? What does my current situation say I can do? What do other people think I can do? Howard Thurman, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s mentor, said, don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then do that. Because what the world needs is people who come alive. So for a moment, ask this question, what would I love in this area of my life? And you want to answer your longing and your discontent. So pick one of these areas and ask, what would I love? And I'm going to take you into a process called the time machine. Right now, imagine you're getting into a time machine and traveling 3 years into the future. And 3 years from now, everything you wanted completely worked out. Now take your pen and paper, and at the top of the page write, I am so happy and grateful now that. And in a minute, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to write down what you would love in this area. So suspend any urge to figure out how this result is going to happen right now. This is simply what you would love, as if somebody gave you a magic wand and you could create exactly what you wanted. So dream big here. Now I invite you to take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you want. And it's 3 years from now, and everything worked out. All challenges are solved. Consider what you would love in your life. What's happening in this area of your life that you've selected? If you could wave a magic wand, what is occurring for you? If you couldn't fail, what would you love to be doing? What experiences are you having? Who are you with? See it with vivid detail. How does it feel? Feel it. Really feel it. You want to be painting a beautiful picture of the life you're imagining. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do this. Actually, I'm just going to give you 1 minute to think about it. So your eyes are still closed and you're just imagining it. What would your life be like in this area of your life? Okay, now open your eyes and write down everything that you can think of. Write down as much as you can, painting a beautiful picture of what you've imagined. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do this. So write down everything that came to you when you were visualizing your dream in this area. You have 30 seconds left. Okay, put your pens down. Good job. Nicely done. So we're going to, this is, now that we're on our way, this is the beginning of designing the life you would love. I know you might not know how this dream is going to happen, and that's okay for now. So great dream builders are willing to suspend the need to know how at the beginning. So don't worry, we'll get there. Just like in the beginning, you said that you, in the past, had achieved something that you didn't know how you were going to do it. And that's what we're going to be doing here. So now that we have the start of a clearly defined dream, I'm going to move on to secret number 2. Best-selling author and renowned life coach Bob Proctor says, there is a single mental move you can make which, in a millisecond, will solve enormous problems for you. It has the potential to improve almost any personal or business situation you will ever encounter. And it could literally propel you down the path to incredible success. And we have a name for that. It's called decision. You must make a decision, a firm decision for what it is you want before you are willing, you can bring your dream into reality. Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, after studying 25,000 men and women, concluded that highly successful people form a habit of making decisions quickly and changing them seldom, if ever, while unsuccessful people make decisions slowly and change them frequently. It's the decisions we're willing to make that shape our lives. A man goes into a bank that he wants to cash a check. So he goes up to the teller and asks, "Can you cash the check for me?" And the teller says, "Sure. Just write your name on the back and give it to me, and I will give you your money." And the guy says, "Whoa, whoa, 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 wait a minute. You want me to sign my name and give you the check?" And the teller said, "Yep, that's bank policy. You sign the check, give it to me, and I will give you your money." And the gentleman says, "What if I give you the check and you don't give me my money? Then what?" And the teller says, "That's not going to happen. If you give me the check, I will give you your money. I promise." And he says, "I don't like that. I think you should change your rules. I want to get my money before I sign the check." So they go back and forth a number of times, and finally the teller says, "I'm sorry, I can't help you. Maybe you could go to another bank and see if they'll cash the check without you signing it." So he walks down the street and he finds another bank and he goes in, same thing. Goes into a third bank, same thing. In the fourth bank, he's going back and forth with the teller, and the teller finally reaches under the cabinet and pulls out a Nerf bat and bops him in the head and says, "Sign the check." And he signs it and he gets his money. And he goes back to the first bank and he said, "See, down the street, they gave me my money." And the teller said, "Yeah, but I bet even down the street you had to sign the check, right?" And he said, "Yeah, but they explained it to me a little different than you did." And isn't that the way things happen? The reason I love that story is because I believe that on many levels, our story, my story and your story, this is true. And that we go to the teller of life. We go to our imagination. We go to our dream or our goal for our business. And we say, "I really want my business to be like this. I want my income to be like this. I want my relationships to be like this. I want my health to be like this." And we describe it. Then life says to us, "Great. Well, go ahead and sign your name to it first. And then you become the thing you want, and I'll cash the check for you." And we say, "No, no, 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 no. Give me the resources first." In other words, when the economy is good, when I have enough business, when I have the money, when I have the time, when I have the relationship, when I have the confidence, when things change around me first, then I'll sign my name to it. Then I will commit to the thing I say I want. We have to remember that we must be willing to sign our name to the thing that we want, to take action in the absence of knowing all the steps. So if you want to have your dream, you're going to have to sign your name to it. And no process can begin, and no path can be forged until a decision has been made. So right now, go to the piece of paper you have your vision written on. And at the bottom of it, write "this or something better still." This leaves it in an open hand so that something better can happen. If we say, "This is what I want," then you shut down the infinite possibilities and you may only get that one thing. But if you say "this or something better still," you leave it open to possibilities that you may never have thought of. And then after that, you want to sign and date it. But once you make a firm decision, even in the absence of perfect conditions, a whole manner of things begin to occur and rush to your aid for the fulfillment of that decision. So let me tell you a story about how one of my clients, Amy, went through this process. When she started, she lacked direction and said she didn't have any purpose, and every now and then that made her feel a little bit depressed. But she showed up every week and she did the work. She took the steps and she defined her dream and she kept moving forward and taking action. And I kept asking her, what would you do if you knew it wasn't impossible? And she decided to stay in that question. What could I do? Now remember, the quality of your life is framed by the quality of the questions you're willing to ask. Most of us learn to ask weak questions of the universe. What do I think I can do? What does my bank account say I can do? What does my current job say I can do? So she was learning to ask bigger questions. So she would say, okay, so if I didn't believe it was impossible, what would I do? Her old mindset was telling her it was impossible. And as long as she agreed with that mindset, that would become the limit of her possibility. The truth is, we live in an abundant universe that is infinite in scope and has unlimited ideas for any size dream you want. So perhaps right now, in reference to your dream, there may be a thought that's limiting you. Those limiting thoughts are actually constricting the flow of solutions and possibilities. You must connect with that part of you that is open to possibilities in order to attract the ideas that will bring the fulfillment of your dream. So, encouraged by me, Amy thought, okay, so if I didn't believe it was impossible, what could I do? And she kept taking the steps, and she kept taking the steps, and she asked the question. And right about 10 weeks, I say, this is where you were in the beginning. How are you feeling now? And she said, I'm Amy. And that story doesn't end there. I love that story. And she experienced herself as a much bigger person, much more capable, more creative. And that's what's happening with dream building, when coming up with the dream that you would love, the vision that you would love, and then taking steps to get there. Now, if she'd stayed caught up in the idea that there was no way she could have this dream, that would have been exactly what she would have experienced. But with my help, she accessed a different level of thinking. She created a clear blueprint for her dream, and she made a decision to act in the face of challenging conditions. She put herself on a different frequency, and on that frequency, there was way more abundance, way more creativity, way more time, way more fun. Amy was clear on what she wanted and made a powerful decision and took action in the face of some very real circumstances. If you want to create a check, you need to fill out the amount and you need to sign your name on that check. In terms of your dream, that means you have to be specific and clear about what you want. Then putting your name on that check means making a decision for your dream, saying, yes, this is the life I would love to live. Yes, today is my day. And if you want this to be your day to begin to live your dreams, just type yes in that chat box. So just like Amy had created a design for the blueprint of her dream, you've decided for your dream. And now we'll take steps. We'll talk about secret number 3, which involves overcoming what stops most people from bringing their dream into reality. And that's secret number 3 is befriending your fear. Napoleon Hill said, the value of your decisions depends on the courage you have to make them. Great dream building requires the ability to suspend knowing how and take action in the absence of all answers. And we decide for a dream. There's a part of that says yes, and there's a part of us that says, yeah, right, that's not going to happen. Or that voice may say, well, how are you going to do that? You've never done that before. Who do you think you are? You just don't have what it takes. So raise your hand if you've ever heard from that part of you and type in the chat box, me. For many of us, this voice has already spoken to you during this presentation. So what is that voice? That's the voice of fear. It's the part of you that wants things to stay status quo. And often fear will disguise itself as practicality. Fear won't say, I'm here to kill your dreams. It's too smart for that. It will say, I'm here to keep you safe. I'm here to make sure you never have to experience that level of pain again. I'm here to make sure your kids are taken care of. I'm here to make sure you don't get embarrassed. It's the voice that says now is not a good time. Wait until later. It's the voice that says you don't have the money for that. That's irresponsible. It's this voice that says you don't have the experience or the credentials. Who are you to have this dream? And it's the part of you that asks, what if I fail? Okay, so what if you fail? How many of you have a failure in your life? Raise your hand and type yes in the chat box. We all have. When we were babies, we started out as non-walkers. And as a non-walker, you see people around you walking on their hind legs, and you wanted that level of freedom yourself. You wanted to be upright and not be on the ground, not be floor bound. So you rose up. You locked your eyes on that toy or that cookie that you wanted, and you gave it your best shot to take steps. And what happened? You fell down. But what did you do next? You rose up again, tried to take a step, and you fell down. And when you're learning, never once did you know you rose up and kept going. And with each try, you took a few more steps and a few more steps until finally you became a walker. And something happens to us when we become adults. We stop giving ourselves permission to fall down. If we fall down in business, we say, I guess I'm not meant to be a business owner. If we fall down in love, we say, I guess love isn't in the cards for me. And it's falling down and rising up that we actually is the key to achieving your dreams. We must befriend our fear and give ourselves permission to fail enough to succeed. And that's what great dream builders do. They fail and they get up and try again. We want to vibrate our dream into existence. Oprah was fired by television executives and told she was not fit for TV, but she rose up and kept going. Steven Spielberg was rejected by USC Film School 3 times, but he rose up and kept going. J.K. Rowling was unemployed, divorced, raising a daughter, and her first novel, Harry Potter, was rejected by 12 publishing companies. But she rose up and kept going. Bruce Springsteen was fired from his first band and told by his manager that he couldn't sing, but he rose up and kept going. Martin Luther King didn't think it was a convenient time for him, and he wasn't sure that he was the right person for the job, but he rose up and kept going. Henry Ford was a failure in 3 businesses before starting the Ford Motor Company at the age of 53. And he was a success because he rose up and kept going. And what about you? Are you willing to rise up and keep going? So when that voice of doubt questions you and asks, what if you fail? Let your response be, bring it on. I might fail, but if I do, I will rise up, keep going, and I will succeed. How do you give power to the part of you that wants to move forward when you're hearing that voice that wants you to play small? There's a whole process to this that I take my clients through. For purposes today, I'm just going to give you one thing that you can do. And remember, where attention goes, energy flows. So you want to notice your thoughts going toward limitation. And you want to interrupt those thoughts. Refocus your mind on your dream and then take action. This action is the key because it tells your subconscious mind that you are serious about your new result And over time, your old paradigm will actually begin to dissolve away. So ask the question, what's one action I can take that would move me in the direction of my dream? And take that action. Now, don't let yourself off the hook here. So look at what you've written down as your dream. What is one step that you can take that would move you in the direction of your dream? There is absolutely one step that you could take to start moving toward that life you would love. So what is that action step? Make sure you write down at least one action step and then put a date by it. So I'm going to give you about a minute to look at your list and to come up with one action step, at least one action step. And then the important thing is also to put a date by it, because this will tell the universe that you're really serious. This is what I'm going to do, and I am going to do it by this date. If you have more than one action step, that's great. Write down everything that you can think of. Whichever you think will move you in the direction of your dream fastest, write a date, a reasonable date when you can accomplish that. And just go through the list and put down dates next to everything. Okay, perfect. Now we want to remember that progress is more important than perfection. So taking even the smallest step towards your dream will make a difference. The key is to do what you want with what you have from where you are. The choices and actions you take today are ultimately who you become tomorrow. So let me ask you this. Do you feel as though you've connected with these ideas? And you know that if you really implemented these, they would make a difference in your life? Raise your hand and type in the chat box, yes. Okay, so as promised, I have a gift for you. And then I'm going to have a closing story. But first, I want to recap what we've covered. We talked about our success list that we want to have at the ready, and how past successes can help you move forward for future successes, and that there's an invisible pattern to success, and that when you expand your awareness of that pattern, your results naturally increase. And we learned the secret to success number 1, designing your dream. You must have a blueprint for what you want in order to achieve it. And the clearer the blueprint, the more power you have. And then we learned the secret principle number 2, secret to success number 2, the power of decision. You must decide for what you want in the absence of knowing how. And the secret to success number 3 is befriending your fear. And how fear and failure are prerequisites for greatness. And you must befriend your fear and shift any paradigms if you want to achieve your results. So I'm going to close with a story, but first I have a gift for you. I have a special gift for those of you who are ready to take action on your dream. So between my speaking and coaching schedule, I carve out some time each week for vision discovery assessments. And if you're serious about stepping into and living your dreams, then this vision discovery assessment is your next step. It's a 30-minute call with me where we look at exactly where you are, where you would love to be, and the next most important step to get there. And it's a one-on-one session, which is valued at $250. And some of you know that you're ready to invest in achieving your dream. So for you, here's your next step. Some one-on-one time with me over the phone. Then you can invest in you, in your dream, and discover the path on how to get there. And I'm offering you this completely complimentary at no charge for anybody that's here. So how many of you are serious about achieving your dream? And if you would like a vision discovery assessment, just click on that schedule now button, and that will take you to my calendar and you can schedule some time with me. Now, I only have 10 strategy sessions reserved, and it may look like there's a lot more time than there is, but each strategy session is booked for an hour. So it would take up to an hour. So and I have it scheduled at half-hour blocks. So it looks like much more than there is. So make sure you do this now, because these sessions will be filling up. And once they're filled up, they're pretty much gone. But if you get to the point where you go to schedule one and there's none left, just send me an email and I'll see if I can fit you into my schedule. So if you're serious about bringing this vision into reality, click on that schedule now button and set aside some time on my schedule. So, and I'm going to be closing with this story of William H. Murray. William H. Murray is known as one of the top 5 mountain climbers of all times. And he's famous for discovering the southern route to Mount Everest, which made summiting Mount Everest possible. When Edmund Hillary, the first man to ever summit Everest, wanted to put together a team to try to summit Everest, he went to William H. Murray. Nobody had summited Everest at the time, and Hillary said to Murray, "We want you on our team." Each person had to either have the money or raise the money for a mountain climbing expedition. Well, William Murray thought, "I would love to do this expedition." However, in his writing, he asked, "How much is it?" And when confronted with the price, he said there's no way he could come up with the money. And dishearteningly, he declined, and they went without him. And Hillary's team had a great expedition. They did not summit Everest. And a couple of years later, Edmund Hillary comes to Murray again and asks and says that we all want you on our team. Come with us. And William H. Murray said, "I did exactly the same thing. I said, 'How much is it?' And when confronted with the price, he said, 'I can't do it.'" And again, the number was more than he believed possible for himself. He declined based on his conditions. He declines, they go further up the mountain, they learn more, but they still don't summit Everest. A number of years later, Hillary comes to him again and says, "Listen, we're going to go one more time. And I think we're going to summit this time because last time when I got off of Everest, I said to her, 'I will climb you because you're not getting any bigger and I am.'" And when William Murray wrote in his book called Evidence of Things Not Seen, he said it took every ounce of courage he had. It took every stretch that he could muster, but it caused him to ask a different question. Instead of asking how much, this time he asked, "What's the down payment?" And William H. Murray wrote, "When I was told the down payment amount, I knew I could get that amount of money, but I had no idea how to come up with the rest. The down payment wouldn't get me all the way to Everest, but he said, okay, and put the down payment down anyway." And he said later in his writings, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Absence of evidence is simply absence of awareness. You have a Mount Everest level dream, and perhaps there's no clear path at this point. But that doesn't mean a path doesn't exist for you. It just means that you're not aware enough to be able to see the things that you can do to generate the results you want. In Murray's book, there's a famous quote that when he describes what happened for him, he says, "Until one is committed, there's hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning the acts of initiative and creation. There is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, namely that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that never would have otherwise occurred. A whole stream of events issue from that decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no one could have dreamt would have come their way. I learned a deep respect to one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. You have a splendid dream, and you wrote it down, and you can feel it. You made a decision for it, and to achieve that dream, you must decide for it over and over again. You must decide for it over opposing circumstances. You must decide for it when it's inconvenient. You must decide for it when it's uncomfortable and you don't feel like it. Because there's one elementary truth. You must commit to your dream and befriend your fear. Because when you do, a whole stream of events issue from that decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which you could not have dreamt would have come your way. So for those of you who are willing to commit to your dream, and for those of you who would love support in achieving your dream, if you would love to be coached, love a coach to help you to the summit of your Everest, just click on that button that says schedule now and make an appointment in my calendar. And for those of you, I promise there are those of you who stayed until the end, I have another gift for you. Mind PT is my third coaching certification. And it's a pre-made mind movie that combines pictures, affirmations, and music. And listening it for 3 minutes a day can affect your mindset for up to 6 to 8 hours. So I use this with my clients to help them shift their mindset and to stay on track and to just be able to move forward more quickly and easily. Now I can see everybody that is still on the call. So for those of you still on the call, I'm going to be sending you an email tomorrow with directions on how to download and to use Mind PT. So remember, as we close this webinar and move out into our life, know that what is inside of you is far greater than any challenge that you're facing. You have incredible power within you. This is your moment. Today is your day to take bold action. Because as Goethe says, whatever you can do or dream you can do, boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. And it's been a privilege and an honor to spend this time with you today. And just remember, I love my life. And I really do love my life. And this is what I want for you also. And this song is by my friend Irene Boggs. And this is your life. This is your time. And I believe in you, and I believe in your dreams. So thank you for attending this webinar. And for those of you who are still here, you'll be getting an email from me tomorrow with directions on how to use Mind PT. And for any of you who are serious about taking your dream to the next level and actually start to live your dream, click on that button right now and schedule some time with me. So it has been an honor and a privilege being here today. And this is just one of the many things that I really love doing. So thank you for attending, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.